a few things I learned through the time I was being mentored. Be a sponge and have no ego. Cold calls and cold reach outs to people you respect actually are very, very important. There should be no shame in doing that.
Yeah.
Some of the best connections I've made are from cold reach outs. Some of the best friends I've made are from cold reach outs. People come to me and they're like, "You're killing it, man. You're killing it, man. You're killing it." I just say, how? What do you think? I mean, maybe I am.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not. But what made you think of that, right? I'm very interested to know what people think. I think in the last 10 years, we have seen a huge amount of pride to being Indian.
Yeah.
A huge amount of pride to buying Indian products and buying Indian brands. When I was growing up, हम stores में जाते थे जहाँ imported products available थे, only imported products, because वो समय में जो imported था वो was considered good and जो Indian था वो substandard था. Right? वो that's completely changed. At the end of the day, you can do a lot of things without ethics, right? And ethics is a big part of what my dad has taught me in relation to business. But like money comes and goes, but reputation stays forever. I will be more consistent. I will show up every day regardless of what happens. And that is my mode.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I firstly want to be thanking each one of you who have stuck around with me in my YouTube journey so far. I know I've not been consistent and regular, but I'm here to make a very special announcement. Today, I am going to be interviewing somebody for my podcast, and I'm officially launching the Dhairya Decodes podcast, and it will be going up on my YouTube channel. I'm going to try and be as consistent as possible. The podcast is going to be focused on careers. So it's a career-specific podcast. We're going to be bringing in interesting folks every episode for you who have done something unconventional in their career. And I'm going to be sharing their career trajectory with you so that you can tread the path that they have and get inspired by them. In today's episode, I have got with me Arjun Vaidya, who is joining me. Arjun is the co-founder at V3 Ventures currently, and also the founder at Dr. Vaidya's, which is India's largest online Ayurveda brand, which is now acquired. He's also an angel investor and a mentor for various D2C startups. And I cannot wait to get into an interesting and insightful conversation with him. Welcome to the Dhairya Decodes podcast,
Arjun. Thank you, Dhairya. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, I think just before we started recording, I remember the first time we did a conversation on a Facebook Live 3.5 years ago. So
I know.
I think it's been awesome to get to know and see your journey since then. Yeah. I'm excited to do this podcast.
No, lovely. Thank you so much for making it all the way down here. You know, when we talk about, when I thought of doing this podcast and when there were obviously a lot of elements and things involved, the idea was always, like I said, to get people who I am inspired by and whose journey I feel career-wise at least people would be inspired by. When I look at what you're doing currently, I want to start with asking you, what does a day in Arjun Vaidya's life look like as of now, as the co-founder at V3 Ventures?
Yeah, so I think days are a little bit more structured. Although I like chaos in my life, and I do a lot of different things outside of just my day-to-day work as an investor. So I think the morning used to start with reading for 1 hour. I used to wake up and read for an hour. Now it may be reading mixed with my daughter waking me up, playing with her a little bit. So 8 to 9 a.m. is usually that. 9 a.m. It's a workout. It's either a run or it's a sport. I've started playing squash quite regularly.
Nice.
Football on the weekends. Or now I've started for the first time in my life going into the gym.
Okay.
I was forced by people.
Never been to the gym before?
Not really. Like been to the gym, but never lifted weights, did strength training, etc. All that. But I started 6-7 months ago. I don't enjoy it, but apparently it's very good for you. So I'm doing it. And then from there, it's leave for the office or leave for my first meeting. Days usually like 6, 7, 8 meetings a day. Some new founder meetings, some old founder meetings, some portfolio meetings.
Right.
But really the life of sort of an early stage investor, right? And I think it's a super exciting space to be in because there's just so much happening in India, and also intellectually very stimulating what I'm doing right now. It's different from being a founder. I get to meet like 10 different businesses a day, 5 different businesses a day. On a weekly basis, I'm meeting 25, 30 founders.
Right.
So it's very stimulating and engaging. Day ends when it ends, honestly. That's one thing that I've inculcated that has been inculcated in me when I was a founder.
Right.
I won't say it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it just ends when it ends, right? So today we are recording this podcast at 11 p.m. So I think, that's what the day looks like. It's a lot of moving parts, honestly. A lot of different things happening at the same time. A lot of juggling of things. But overall, I think as a job, being an early stage investor in India for me has to be the most intellectually stimulating and exciting thing to be a part of. Look, it's very different from being a founder.
Yeah.
But you get to just see so many people doing so many amazing things all the time.
Right.
And so you're always charged and excited and rejuvenated and excited, you know.
True.
So I think that's been sort of a nice change since being a founder.
And where do you get time in the middle of all of this to create content then? Because we see a lot of content going up on a lot of platforms. I'm just trying to understand where does it fit in your routine then, now that we know your routine.
Weekends.
Okay, the weekends are dedicated.
If there is video content, then it's usually weekends.
Okay.
LinkedIn, I've been writing for a while, so now it's on autopilot, to be honest.
Correct.
But I also, I think I'm very mindful of what I can do well and what I know how to do. So I'm only on 2 platforms, LinkedIn and Instagram, and that's more than enough.
I think that's more than enough for everybody, because you're doing pretty well, yeah.
I can't manage more, honestly.
Makes sense.
If I'm not able to respond to people, then I don't feel right about it. And it's getting to that point now.
True.
So I just want to ensure that if someone reaches out to me, I can reply within a week at least, if not within 1 day or 2 days. And so
I think you're consciously sticking to 2 platforms.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
If I could give it more time, maybe something different. But right now, this is where I am, and quite happy with it. I'm enjoying it.
Great. On that note, Arjun, you said that obviously life as an early stage investor is very different from that of a founder. And obviously we all know, and we'll come to talking about Dr. Vaidya's and everything that you did there. But I'm interested in understanding that when you talk about venture capital and you talk about angel investing, and these are terms that are used as buzzwords every now and then. To be very honest, like when I look at it, I don't understand the dynamics of it as much as most people would, also myself.
Sure.
So if as a layman I am asking you कि भाई angel investing and venture capital में फर्क क्या है, number one, I don't know what's the difference.
Correct.
I want to understand if somebody wants to become a venture capitalist, for example, what is the career trajectory? How do you become one?
Yeah.
Because my audience would like to know that.
I think very good questions. So angel investing or VC में actually फर्क ये है कि angel investors are usually individuals, right? So they're usually investing their proprietary money.
Okay.
Angel investors are in most cases not doing this full time. They're doing something else full time.
Okay.
They're entrepreneurs, they are business owners, they are well salaried and high ranking professionals. And then they have a little bit of additional capital and a intellectual curiosity to want to invest and engage in the ecosystem.
Got it.
So that's what an angel investor usually is. Those angel investors are investing their own personal money. So in most cases, other than a few, the check sizes are usually small. When I say small, it's usually 5 to 25, 50 lakhs per investment. And angel investors adopt a larger portfolio strategy. They may have 30, 40, 50 companies over 5 years in their portfolio. Venture capital is just an institutional way or a structured way or a professional way of doing early stage investing, right?
Okay.
So what is sort of not understood well enough is that at some point, an angel will also invest in the same company, the same round as a VC, right?
Okay.
So it could be the first round of a company and VCs will also invest. But the VCs are usually 100% full-time professionals. VC funds usually are investing somebody else's capital. So for example,
by somebody else you mean?
The fund I run and any VC fund has what they call LPs or limited partners.
Okay.
These are the people who provide access to the capital. So if I'm running this VC fund today, all the capital is not mine. I run a VC fund which is single LP evergreen. So I have only one other investor other than the capital I put up. But usually VC funds have, or PE funds, private equity funds have multiple investors. The minimum, if you think about a VC, right? It falls under in the sort of RBI regulation, SEBI regulation. It's a category 2 fund, usually an alternative investment fund. So the minimum check someone can put is 1 CR.
Correct.
You can't put less than 1 CR into a Cat 2 category 2 alternative investment fund. And so just imagine you have a 1,000 crore fund, you could have 300, 400, 500 LPs that come together to invest, right? And so these people, like you invest in a mutual fund or you invest in a debt fund or you invest in a stock, this is another instrument of investment for someone like my family office.
Right.
Saying, okay, I trust this fund manager, he or she is doing early stage investing with their team. I'll give them my money. They're responsible to get me the return, responsible to report back to me.
Got it.
So that's the difference largely between VCs and angels. But what is not said enough is that VCs and angels actually come sometimes in the same
Together,
round.
yeah.
As a VC, you cannot have such a big portfolio usually, right?
Okay.
Unless you're a pre-seed fund, etc. You usually have, like, for example, the fund I'm building, we will do in this fund 12 companies, 15 companies at max. But in my angel portfolio, I have more than 100 companies now. So you take
But that's also because of the amount of money you're putting in, and you're allowed to put in other restrictions.
The amount of money you're putting in, but also as a VC, you have a concentrated strategy.
Correct.
When you invest in a company, you spend time with the company, you add value to the company, you show up to the board meetings, you do monthly reviews of the company, you get the MIS of the company, etc. All that. As an angel, honestly, if a founder reaches out to me, like on the way here, I was talking to one of the founders that I invested in. I helped him craft his social media strategy early on.
Okay.
And I helped him a little bit with the fundraise. But day to day, I don't know what's happening in his business.
In his business.
Once in a month, once in a couple of months, we are on a random call for 5-10 minutes, etc. All of that, right?
Got it.
You cannot have
that kind of
hundreds of companies with that level of involvement as a VC fund. So that's largely, I would say, the difference.
Interesting. And to come back to this thing, अगर किसी को venture capitalist बनना है, then how do they become one?
तो actually venture capital, private equity, investing जो buy side है, it's a very small industry in India. I would say venture capital, private equity कुल मिला के कोई 1500-2000 लोग हैं पूरे देश में.
That's it.
And that number is up from 1000 or 800 people when I started in 2013. My first job was in private equity. तो actually ये बहुत छोटी इंडस्ट्री है. हमारे इंडस्ट्री में एक्चुअली जो फंड्स होते हैं उनमें 300-400 लोग नहीं होते. Even the biggest fund, right? Funds have very concentrated teams. So my fund, for example, V3, we are 3 people. And I don't see us growing to a team of 30 people or 40 people. 3 will become 4, 4 will become 5.
Yeah.
So ऐसी इंडस्ट्री है जहां बहुत लोगों की जरूरत नहीं है. तो every position is very competitive, right?
Correct.
If you ask me today, 2013-14 में जब मैंने ये इंडस्ट्री में करियर पहले स्टार्ट किया था एज एन एनालिस्ट, तो इट वाज वेरी स्टैंडर्ड कि आप आईआईटी जाओ, कि आईएम जाओ, कि आप मकिन्जी, बेन, बीसीजी में काम करो, कि आप कोई अच्छे यूएस यूनिवर्सिटी में एमबीए करके आ जाओ तो आपको जॉब मिल जाएगा. तो इट वाज वेरी स्टैंडर्ड route to this industry. आज के ज़माने में actually very alternative types of people are also being inducted into the VC industry. So I'll give you some examples. अगर आपने एक startup में एक leadership position, एक operational position में काम किया है, तो you can add lots of value because you have seen it happen.
Correct.
अगर आप founder थे और आपने business बनाया है जो successful था और exit हुआ जैसे मेरा हुआ, अगर आप founder थे और exit नहीं मिला, आपका business fail भी हुआ, so you actually know what doesn't work in a business as well, right? So these kind of alternative profiles are also being added to the VC industry. There are people who are domain experts. जैसे एक VC fund रहेगा जो अभी healthcare में foray कर रहा है, तो someone who has been a CEO of a hospital, that could be a relevant addition to the team, right?
Makes sense.
I think as the industry is growing, industry बढ़ रहा है हमारे देश में और लोग आ रहे हैं और फंड के और स्पेशलाइजेशन भी आ रहे हैं, तो गिवन ऑल ऑफ दिस देयर आर आल्सो मोर स्पेशलाइज्ड रोल्स बीइंग क्रिएटेड.
या वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. सो व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड इज व्हाइल ये बहुत नीश इंडस्ट्री है, बहुत कम लोग हैं भारत में इस वक्त, यू सेड 1500 से 2000 लोग, स्टिल इफ यू हैव द स्किल सेट एंड यू हैव सर्टेन स्पेशलाइज्ड प्रोफाइल्स व्हिच यू जस्ट एक्सप्लेन, आप करियर बना सकते हो इसमें एंड इट्स बिकमिंग मोर ओपन. डू यू सी द ग्रोथ टू हैपन? डू यू थिंक इट विल गेट लार्जर विद टाइम?
इट विल गेट लार्जर.
ओके.
And I think the industry is growing.
Okay.
Every year there are more funds coming. Every year there is more. But I don't see कि 10 साल में 20,000 लोग ये industry में काम करने वाले हैं. It will remain a sort of small industry. And so actually हर position के लिए बहुत competition रहता है. There is lots of competition for position. So if I am to advise someone today, अगर आपको VC में आना है, अगर आपको VC fund में काम करना है, तो the first thing you need to show is deep involvement, engagement, and bringing something different. What does that mean? You can have a blog that you create on a specific industry. You can write on LinkedIn about something.
Yeah.
You can have a connect with founders.
Correct.
You can have reached out to founders and had conversation with them. This level of hustle, engagement, connect, and sort of deep love of studying companies is the most important thing. When I meet someone, if they tell me any of these things, I'll be so engaged or interested to have a conversation as opposed to maybe your story pe article padhta hu, maybe Ink 42 pe article padhta. No. You have to show some initiative.
Correct.
To really find your जब हम college में application करते थे, right? Like I went to Brown for my undergrad. So I remember asking, when I got into the college, I remember asking someone I met in the admission department, आपको like हजारों applications आते हैं, आप 8%, 7% acceptance rate रखते हो ये कॉलेज में, तो आपको ऐसे से कैसे पता चलता है, ऐसे और ग्रेड से कैसे पता चलता है this is a good fit, this is not a good fit?
Correct.
So that person told me one thing very interesting, and that stayed with me since the time I had that conversation. There has to be something that makes your profile jump out of the paper, jump out of the essay, jump out of the crowd. हमारा like India सोचो 1.4 billion people. In every role, in every job, in everything you do, there are lots of people vying for the same position.
Yeah.
And so being able to understand how you can cut through the clutter and really stand out is very important. And so हमारे industry में, if someone shows this initiative and does these things, it can really make their profile stand out.
सुन लीजिए आप लोग. This is what it takes to become a venture capitalist and get into an industry. No, I think that's very interesting, and I think it's given me such a good perspective also, because I keep meeting folks who want to get into different unconventional careers today, and this is one of them. The size that you told me of the industry, I didn't know of these figures at all, and the fact that you're saying वो 20,000 तक शायद पहुंचेगा भी नहीं अगले 10 साल में, it goes on to actually show how cutthroat the competition will be, and then you telling what it will take for you to stand out. I think that's a deep insight, because that's the only way, right? We have to get through the competition. Now, that brings me to asking you, and this is something I really want to know. When you look into a startup, somebody is coming to you, they come and probably present a pitch or just having an initial round of a conversation with you, a founder, you find them interesting. What's more important for you? Do you look into the team behind the startup? What are the metrics you look into when you decide I'm going to be putting in my venture capital money into this startup and I'll invest?
So look, I think जब हम invest करते हैं तो हम early आते हैं companies में. तो I look at three things.
ठीक है.
50% of my decision is based on the founder. Founder कौन है? Why do they have a right to win in that space? Why are they passionate about that space? And most importantly, जब बुरे समय, tough times आ जाएंगे, तो why will this person fight with grit and resilience, right? जैसे on the way here I was talking to a founder, जहाँ मैंने invest किया था, अभी he raised $1.5 million, but 6 महीने पहले, just 6 months before, he got on a call with me on a Saturday afternoon saying, Arjun, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know ये हो पाएगा मेरे से कि नहीं हो पाएगा, right?
Okay.
And then I said, look, boss, just because you're not able to raise money doesn't mean your business is not good. XYZ is good about your business. Just look at this and keep fighting.
Yeah.
And I said, ठीक है, ये सब छोड़ो, fundraise छोड़ो. Let's work on one aspect of your business, your social media presence. Right? And I said, chal, I understand a little bit about social media. Let's work together on it. And that guy fought through a near-death situation to get his business this capital and get his business going. And now he's rocking, right? So fighting through that tough time when you think, यार कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. Honestly, like I remember Dr. Vaidya's time mein, 2.5 years, our business just didn't kick off, right? But fighting through those times to get to the point where it kicks off, that's important. So 50% on founder.
Okay.
Who is that person? Why do they have a right to win while they fight through tough times? Second, 20% on market. TAM जो हम बोलते हैं, total addressable market. Now, why is this important? Because जब हम पैसा डाल रहे हैं कंपनी में, तो आज हम X scale पे पैसा डाल रहे हैं, so the company should reach at least 3x, 5x, 10x scale from where I invest in the company. Abhi, the company can reach scale if they execute well, but market has to support also that scale, right?
Correct.
अगर company X कर रहा है और market 1.2x है, तो for the company to reach 5x, the market has to grow from 1.2 to 10x.
Correct.
And so, the example I like to give here is that I am, as you know, as you helped order dinner for me, sugar-free and gluten-free.
Yeah.
I can tell you there must be less than 1 million people in India who are sugar-free and gluten-free for health reasons.
Yeah.
So I enjoy eating gluten-free and sugar-free, and that's my choice as a person.
Yeah.
But there's no market for that in India.
True.
And so when I make my investment decision, I have to look for a very large market. So if you think about it, I would invest in snacks that have gluten rather than healthy snacks that don't have gluten. From an investment decision. Because I believe the market size will be much larger there than, for example, I'm an investor in a company called Jimmy's Cocktails.
Oh,
It's
I've
a
heard of
cocktail
them.
mixer brand.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
never tried the product in my life.
Okay.
Because it's full of sugar. Now, the product is very good for their audience, but I don't have sugar.
So you need not be a consumer of the product if you're investing
But
in
if I
it, which
believe
is
in
okay.
the market size, it's great.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Perfect.
Now, I have certain restrictions, like I don't invest in anything that has to do with gambling or anything that has to do with smoking,
All of that.
sort of damaging to health, etc.
Yeah,
But
got
other
it.
than that, I invest in this. So I should be able to see
While their
enough-
total addressable market is huge.
huge. But that's personal choice.
But that's your personal choice, yeah.
So the market size should be big enough. And the third thing is business economics and team. So business में revenue क्या है, gross margin क्या है, EBITDA profile क्या है, bottom line, customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, what is the profitability of the business looking like today and what will it look like going forward. And then other than the founder, at least in our consumer businesses, you can't build it alone. You need a team. And so who is the team with the founder that's doing this? So I'll just recap. For an early stage investment, when I'm making the investment, because I'm coming so early, my decision is made 50% on who the founder is and why do they have a right to win. 20% is made on how big is the market from the time I invest, and 30% is on business economics and team.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to understand that how much of the percentage goes into the team that the founder is building. Because, I mean, a lot of people say that, you know, you're only as good as your team. Or a startup is, or a founder is, again, the way they build their team says a lot about how far they could go as
Correct.
well, right? So
that is very dependent on the stage of the business.
Okay.
There are times when I invest in business where there are only 3 people, the 3 founders. There are only 2 people, the 2 founders, right? At that early stage, I can't expect them to have another 20 people in the team. But if the business is sort of raising a pre-series A round, where they're raising like $2-3 million, then they have to have a strong enough second layer of management to take it forward.
Got it. Makes sense. I want to come back to talking a little bit about your personal life routine and things, because we spoke about the gluten-free, sugar-free personal choice. You are in a job that demands a lot of your time, energy, effort, and you're meeting, like you said, 10, 20 new people every single day. I think it takes a lot of energy to do that. What are some habits that you've built in the past few years that you think have helped you grow in your career and helped you have that sort of mental peace and balance to be able to have enough time given to your family also, to be able to have a successful venture capital fund that you're running and be able to support founders and do everything else on social media as well?
But if you ask my family, they're unhappy with me.
They're not happy.
Because I'm not giving enough time. But I've come from a 1 week vacation with my family, so they can't be unhappy with me now. Look, I think in all of our lives, life is about opportunity cost and trade-offs. Right? So you've got to figure out what those trade-offs are. Is that Saturday night out with friends the trade-off I'll take versus working a little bit longer? Is that Sunday spent watching cricket, or is that Sunday spent preparing for the half marathon, or is it spent prepping for the week ahead? Should I go for that work thing to Delhi for half a day, or should I just be in Bombay because I want to spend time with my kids? My entire life is based on opportunity cost and trade-off. And every day I'm faced with decisions like, should I or should I not? Should I or should I not? I think managing that, it's not easy. And I think it's a mix of what I have to do, what I need to do, and what I want to do, right? So what I want to do is I want to spend time with my kid, I want to spend time with my family, I want to spend time with my friends, I want to focus on my fitness, I want to run the half marathon in January, I want to play football once a week, I want to play squash once a week, I want to do all of these things. What I have to do is I have to put in my hours to be at the level that I can be in the consumer space, at least one of the best venture capitalists in India. What do I need to do? I need to meet 30 founders a week, I need to travel so many places, I need to go and visit my portfolio, etc. All of that. So these 3 things are what I have to, what I need to, and what I want to. A mix of that, and sometimes it's more of what I want to, sometimes more of what I have to. But managing this is really the conundrum that all of us face in life.
Yeah.
It's what I face every single day, all the time.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm good at it, honestly. I make long decisions all the time. But I think getting better at managing these 3 will lead to more success for me and for anyone, actually.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. But would you say there are specific habits that you've changed or made a part of your routine or inculcated let's say 3 habits per se.
Yeah.
Let's just for the sake of the number that have changed the way you look at life and made it easier for you, at least from a career trajectory perspective.
Yeah, I think what really is a big change from the time I was a founder to now is I spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but I'm very strict about my fitness.
Okay.
So
yeah, I've seen that.
If I'm in Bombay, unless something has gone, like I've slept really late or I'm not feeling well, etc., all of that, I will work out every day.
Okay.
That I'm in Bombay.
Got it.
As far as possible, right? 95% of the days I'll do something about my fitness. It really, really helps me. That's number one. Number two, because I have a kid now, and I think it gives me a lot of satisfaction spending time with my kid.
Yeah.
I'm very strict about meeting my kid once a day.
Right.
Anyhow, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, whatever time I get, I use that time.
Yeah.
But I'm very strict about meeting my kid and trying as far as possible to at least spend some part of Sunday at home.
Right.
It could be the morning, it could be the afternoon, it could be the evening, but getting sort of strict with that time is the second thing. And the third thing, which I find has really, really helped, is taking short breaks once every quarter.
Okay.
I think what I did last week was I took a week off, which I've not done in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, I saw that post of
or
yours,
longer than that. But short breaks, a weekend off, Sunday without phone, not thinking about work.
Okay.
You need to do that to recharge and rejuvenate yourself.
Yeah.
Else your just levels of efficiency keep dropping.
Got it. No, but I think those are some very effective changes that you've made in your life, and I think I can kind of see.
And one other thing.
Tell me.
It may seem totally random to the people who are listening to this podcast as well. Like people say I have a lot of energy.
Yeah, you do.
And I meet so many people and all of that.
Yeah.
But I've never had tea or coffee in my life.
Never had tea or coffee in your life?
And people say, how do you have so much energy? You must be always on caffeine and all of that.
Yeah.
You must be like buzzing, this, that. I've never had tea or coffee in my life. I think it helps me.
Never as in never?
Means like
बचपन में?
Like नहीं. किसी ने force किया होगा तो चाय पिया है.
अच्छा पिया है.
पिया है like
once in
10-12 बार life में. Coffee, like maybe cold coffee or something like that, like 10-12 times in my life. But and green tea, if I'm forced by someone ke kuch piyo, तो I feel like green tea is hot water with a little bit of flavor.
Yeah.
Honestly, I never have tea or coffee.
I think that's the secret.
Could be
habit.
A secret.
It is.
Seems counterintuitive, but I think it works for me.
Wow.
Never,
Very
never.
interesting.
Never.
Yeah.
I've slept 3 hours, still I don't have coffee, tea. None of that.
Okay. Very interesting.
गलती से 1-2 बार coffee पिया, I can't sleep, I start shivering, all of that.
So I think on that note, very interesting to know that Arjun has not consumed any form of caffeine other than 10 to 12 cups probably in his lifetime. I don't know. I'm like, most of the folks here, I think I know people who drink 10 to 12 cups in a day.
Yeah, I think...
it's crazy.
When I was in college in the US,
I
had a roommate of mine who used to wake up in the morning, not shower, wash his face, but had cup of black coffee and smoked a cigarette.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want this life. तो मैं तो कभी नहीं पीने वाला हूँ coffee. नहीं चाहिए मुझे.
Yeah.
It just seemed like an addiction which I didn't want.
You didn't want.
Not that
Again, it's a personal choice.
I have a lot of respect for people who appreciate coffee, who know the differences between coffee, etc. All of that.
Yeah.
If you ask me cappuccino, americano, latte में क्या फर्क है, मुझे idea नहीं है. Idea नहीं. I have no clue.
Okay.
I have no clue.
Got it. Okay. From cappuccino, americano, and latte, I'm going to get you back to venture capitalists and angel investing ka dunya again. I want to understand, Arjun, when businesses face tough times, which they always do. You were also giving an example of one of the founders who you were speaking with on the way. And he was almost about to give up. I want to understand in your personal life, especially when you were running Dr. Vaidya's, I'm sure there were certain points and those, breakthrough points that coming in. When you feel like you're on the edge and you're just about to give up, how does a founder, push through those times? What does it take to not just put that faith in yourself ki haan bhai kar lenge, we'll be able to get through these times. But what I want to understand is that as a founder and someone now who's helping other founders and you see them in those situations, how is it different now that you have to help somebody in that position to when you were also at some time in that position? How did you get through it?
Look, I think जब आप पहले start करते हो ना तो आप बहुत excitement में start करते हो business के. मैंने इकोनॉमिक टाइम में पढ़ा है, मैंने योर स्टोरी में पढ़ा है, मैंने ऑनलाइन पढ़ा है, मैंने टीवी पे देखा है, CNBC पे देखा है, ये स्टार्टअप का दुनिया बहुत सेक्सी है, बहुत अट्रैक्टिव है, बहुत बड़े बड़े बिजनेसेस बनते हैं. जब आप स्टार्ट करते हो तो ये सब बाहर से बहुत एक्साइटिंग लग रहा है, बट फिर आप स्टार्ट करते हो और आपको पता चलता है कि इतना फेलियर है लाइफ में, इतना फेलियर है, हर दिन कुछ फेलियर आ जाता है, राइट? एंड when I started, I was like shocked at how tough it was, honestly. And हर छोटे चीज में कोई रुकावट आ जाती है, which is very surprising and young founders के लिए बहुत intimidating भी हो जाता है.
True.
तो ये समय में I think it's really really crucial and really important. हर फाउंडर को एक सपोर्ट सिस्टम की जरूरत है. Friends, family, mentors, advisors. That one call at 2 a.m. at 12 p.m. on a Saturday, that panic call when things are not going right, वो हर फाउंडर के लिए बहुत important है. Like I love sports, and sports की दुनिया और entrepreneurship की दुनिया में बहुत parallels है.
हाँ.
तो हर स्पोर्ट्समैन, आप मेसी बोलो, सचिन बोलो, क्रिस्टियानो रोनाल्डो बोलो, माइकल जॉर्डन बोलो, हर स्पोर्ट्समैन whatever level pinnacle of success always have a coach.
Yeah, always.
If every sportsman is a coach, every entrepreneur needs a coach, mentor or advisor. And that person needs to be, maybe the founder is much more talented than the coach, but in those tough times, you need a mirror, you need a support system, you need someone to hold your shoulder and say everything will be okay. For me, there were two people.
Okay.
My dad, who is an entrepreneur himself,
Yeah.
and my wife, who was my co-founder.
Yeah.
I remember एक समय था जब मैं एक पिच के लिए गया था BC के पास, एंड हम जब फाउंडर्स हैं ना, तो हमें हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स में बहुत गर्व होती है, बहुत प्राइड होती है. तो मैं गया था ये VC मीटिंग में, और मैं एक बड़ा वुडन बॉक्स कैरी करता था मेरे प्रोडक्ट्स के साथ. ब्यूटीफुल डिस्प्ले, ओपन द बॉक्स एंड ऑल द प्रोडक्ट्स आर नाइसली डिस्प्लेड एंड ऑल. एंड मैं ये VC के ऑफिस में जा रहा था, बहुत फैंसी बिल्डिंग थी. तो दे स्टॉप मी एट द सिक्योरिटी, सर ये क्या है, बॉक्स क्या ले रहे हो? तो सर मेरे प्रोडक्ट्स है सर, मीटिंग के लिए जा रहा हूँ मैं ऊपर. सिक्योरिटी सेड कॉल अपस्टेयर्स. So I called upstairs, I told the guy, hey, I've got my products, etc. all that. So the guy saying, यार क्यों ला रही हो इतना बड़ा बॉक्स, क्या क्या जरूरत है, हम मीटिंग कर रहे हैं, ये whatever. And then like with lot of difficulty I went up, and then like the guy started the meeting only saying like, ये क्या लाया है ये बॉक्स, ये क्या है, ये है वो है whatever. And I was like, यार I got my products to show you.
Yeah.
And फिर वो मीटिंग में ना, he did not even pay attention to what I was saying.
Okay.
3 लोग थे मीटिंग में, जो मेन हेड था, बॉस था, जो भी था, वो पूरे मीटिंग में अपने फोन पे था एंड हंस रहा था, लाइक सीइंग समथिंग ऑन हिज फोन एंड लाफिंग. एंड आधी मीटिंग में निकल गया.
Okay.
Now obviously that meeting didn't go well, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Clearly didn't go well
Clearly
for
didn't.
me.
Yeah.
And I went back and like I'm just thinking the guy didn't even give me a year, you know. And then I go back to the office and it's evening time and Trisha said, how did it go? And I was like, it couldn't have gone worse. And then like we were just like everyone had left the office by this time. We just looking at the ceiling and being like, यार हम क्या गलत कर रहे हैं? Like what are we doing wrong, right? I remember that time I was like, I don't know, like I'm trying really hard and it's just not working. And then to have that support, right? We have good products. Our customers love our products. And people are appreciating what we do. They may not be VCs, but our customers are appreciating what we do. Let's keep going, right? Correct. At that moment, if I didn't have that, I don't know what would have happened. Right?
Just that one, you know, reassurance.
That push. You know, that support system.
Yeah.
And by the way, if I have a bad day at work, I still call my wife. And I ask her for advice and feedback, even though we don't work together.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's very interesting. I think the fact that I kind of took back is you said that even the biggest sports players have coaches, and that's so true. And you said that you also had people who were there to mentor you in a way, or to be there to just give you that push and to anchor you, you know, when you need that support.
And देखो, अच्छे टाइम भी होते हैं, बुरे टाइम भी होते हैं.
हाँ.
बुरे टाइम्स में मैंने समझाया आपको, पर अच्छे टाइम में अगर आपका कंपनी बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है, बहुत ग्रो हो रहा है, then the whole world is telling you you're great, you're great, you're great, right? And I had time when after a long time of things not going right, everything started going right.
Correct.
And then everybody was like, yaar, itna acha business banaya hai. Every VC is calling me.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to reach out to me. Every news publication wants to talk to me. Forbes 30 under 30 ho gaya. Ye business world 40 under 40 ho gaya. And you start feeling like, boss, I'm king of the world, right? At that time also it's very important कि कोई है आपके सामने जो mirror है and say, boss, no. Like come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Reality देखो आपके सामने जो है, right? So both ways I think it's important.
Yeah. I agree. No, that's a very powerful thing to say as well, because you always have to have that person or somebody there to just bring you back to your reality and in that space where you belong and where you come from. And that's very interesting to know as well. I think since we were talking about, you spoke about Trisha, you spoke about your family as well. I want to understand, see, I'll just put it very straight. We've been hearing a lot about work-life balance. Very recently, there's been a lot of controversy over the 70-hour work week, right? Mr. Narayan Murthy spoke about it and a lot of people have views. I want to understand what's your viewpoint on it, Arjun. And I just want to understand, very simply put, do you really think work-life balance is important and do you really care about it as a person?
Yeah, I'll say first, I think work-life balance is very important.
Okay.
But जितना वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस आपको चाहिए और जितना मुझे चाहिए और व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर मी इज वेरी डिफरेंट, राइट?
ओके.
तो लेट मी एक्सप्लेन दिस विद अ 70-hour वर्क वीक. I work 70 hours every week. I've been working 70 hours for the last 10 years.
Okay.
And I'll continue to work 70 hours.
Okay.
At whatever position I reach in life. Why is that? Because honestly, I'm not a smart worker. जब मैं स्कूल में था तो I remember there were some friends of mine जो एग्जाम के 3 दिन पहले पढ़ाई करके अच्छे ग्रेड लाते थे.
Right.
वो मेरे से होता ही नहीं था. I don't have युवराज सिंह टाइप टैलेंट.
I can't.
तो I don't have युवराज सिंह टाइप टैलेंट, और मुझे पता है तो मुझे हार्ड वर्क डालना होता है ना. मैं हार्ड वर्क से खुश हूँ.
हाँ.
And there are some people who are able to do what I am doing in 14 hours in 8 hours and 6 hours. So I would say at the end of the day for me what's most important is output. And what it takes for you to give that output is most important. अगर आप 4 घंटे में कर पाएंगे और आप 5 दिन काम करो, 20 घंटे की भी वर्क भी कर सकते हो.
Correct.
There are a lot of people who are talented like that.
Yeah.
I'm not. So I think what's important is to figure out कि this is my goal, this is my output. I don't believe in FaceTime. I don't believe कि आप 2 घंटे काम करो पर 14 घंटे लैपटॉप के सामने बैठो और that's important, right? That's not relevant at all. What you need to do to get that output is important. For me, I need to put in the 14-hour work week, or 14-hour a day work and a 70-hour work week, and that's what works for me. But it's not that everybody has to work like that. And that's what I've learned and realized.
But do you also think that it also depends a lot on what stage of life you are in and what your priorities are, or that doesn't matter because it doesn't change?
Honestly, I have a very close friend who went to college with me who only works 8 hours a day.
Okay.
Has been doing this since he graduated from college in 2013 till today 2023. 10 साल हुए काम करके. वो कर पाता है 8 घंटे में. He's talented like that. So if he can do it, then well and good. Yeah. Why should we stop someone from doing it? It depends what works for you. And in anything in life, I think it depends what works for you, honestly.
Each to its own.
Each to its own, but also what it takes for you to get that output. If I don't work 70 hours, I'll not get the output. I don't say this so openly, but I have a problem of concentration, right? So what takes you 30 minutes to read will take me 3 hours to read.
Yeah.
That's just how I am. If I have to read 60 pages, I have to block 3 hours of my time. It'll take you 30 minutes to read 60 pages. So knowing your strengths, weaknesses, limitations and what works for you is very important. And when it comes to work as well, think about it, that's how it should be.
Yeah. So you figure out what works for you and you do that. Makes a lot of sense. When you say that, obviously you have to put in the work and you choose how much of that work in those hours it takes. Coming back to also circling back to the coach thing, and I want to talk a little bit about mentorship here as well. When you look at students or you look at somebody getting into the corporate space and getting their first job, to somebody even quitting their job and getting onto their entrepreneurial journey, or someone like you who, founded a company and then exited to now being a founder of a venture capital fund. I want to understand what is the importance of mentorship. Who have been some pivotal people in your life who have mentored you, and what impact does mentorship hold in one's career?
I think mentorship is absolutely immense. I think mentorship से honestly मेरी life change हुई है.
Okay.
तो जब मैंने पहले जॉब में काम स्टार्ट किया था, तो I studied economics and politics in college, and I got a job in a private equity finance business, right? Private equity fund. Job तो बहुत अच्छा था, but मैंने कभी P&L लाइफ में देखा ही नहीं था.
Right.
So at that time, I had a senior of mine, Aditya, who's now a startup founder himself, who taught me how to read a P&L. He taught me how to read a balance sheet. He spent all of that time for me to learn. And like when I built Dr. Vaidya's and I sold Dr. Vaidya's and I called him and I said, मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, ये हुआ. He was also very proud and happy. And I said, no, yeah, but remember at that time you helped me with this, and that time I'll never forget all of that time you spent for me, right? So I think that was very crucial mentorship for me. I had a ex-boss, Uday Mehra, who really taught me businesses, process और brands कैसे बनते हैं. And you know, when I started my company, I would still call him once every 3 months, 4 months कि ये हो रहा है sir, ये बता दो क्या करना है. And then obviously I talked about my dad and what he taught me, and my granddad, who's had a deep impact and all of that.
Right.
I think there are a few things I learned through the sort of time I was being mentored. One, be a sponge and have no ego. Take in as much knowledge as you can without having an ego. Two, cold calls and cold reach outs to people you respect actually are very, very important. There should be no shame in doing that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get scared. Like I remember reaching out to a founder whose company I liked, where I'm an investor now. It's a company selling pan on Swiggy and Zomato in a new age format. It's called Beetle Leaf Company, right?
Okay.
I found the idea just amazing.
Yeah, very
He had
interesting.
This technology to vacuum pack pan, and he developed all these different pan products and stuff like that. And किसी ने मुझे प्रोडक्ट बारे में बताया था तो I said यार ठीक है, I don't know the founder, तो मैं LinkedIn पे मैसेज भेज रहा हूँ. And he called me on a Sunday and he said, sir, thank you so much, आपने मुझे मैसेज भेजा है, मैं 2 साल से आपको फॉलो कर रहा हूँ और मुझे आपको मैसेज करना था, बट मैं डर रहा था, और फिर आपने मुझे मैसेज किया है. आपने कैसे मैसेज किया है? हाउ डिड यू थिंक ऑफ मैसेजिंग मी? आई सेड बॉस, काम अच्छा लगा, मैंने डीएम कर दिया लिंक्डइन पे, आपने रिप्लाई किया, तो वेल एंड गुड, राइट? एंड ही वाज लाइक, आई हैव टू लर्न दिस फ्रॉम यू, आई वुड हैव नेवर मैसेज्ड यू एंड आई वाजंट श्योर अबाउट मैसेजिंग यू. एंड आई सेड लुक, if I had also not messaged you, we would have never been able to meet because you would have also not messaged me, right?
Yeah.
So I think these cold reach outs are really important. Some of the best connections I've made are from cold reach outs. Some of the best friends I've made are from cold reach outs on LinkedIn, on Instagram, etc. All of that. And so be open about doing those cold reach outs. And number 3, look, I think mentorship has to be something that works for both people.
Yeah.
So if you are getting mentored by someone, respect their time and respect the value they are bringing, and also, you know, give them something as well.
Yeah.
There is also knowledge you can share and impart, right?
True.
And so that keeps the person interested. I think these are the few things I've learned about mentorship. Honestly, I think it's something that all of us should have.
Yeah.
Everyone should have a coach, a mentor, an advisor.
I agree. No.
And be ambitious about that as well. Don't just go to someone who's in your close network. If you respect someone who's far out, go and reach out.
But Arjun, when it comes to mentorship, मैंने एक चीज देखी, people are very, how do I put it? They're very conservative about not sharing. I don't know. I'm not saying that this may be true. What I have observed is, at least जितने लोगों से मैं बात करती हूँ, when I ask them, you know, that do you have a mentor? Do you have a coach or somebody who guides you? मुझे at least mostly the answers that I get are not direct. Like especially revealing the name. I have seen this. Mostly people are not comfortable revealing the name of their mentor or coach. Do you think that's true? And why do people do that? I don't know.
I know why people do that, because they are like, यार मैं name reveal करूँगा तो that person will also go there, speak to that person, then time will get limited, etc. All of that. But I don't believe in all of this. Yeah, I'm like, even in my work in VC, people are like, Arjun, तू सामने से बोलता है कौन सा deal करने वाला है? Why do you share all of this? But I don't like to hide anything, honestly. I'm an open book, and I think यार, if I have a mentor and they are happy with what I'm doing and they are keen in the relationship, and whether 10 other people come to them, they won't let go of that relationship. And I think that's what you have to have confidence in yourself, your relationship, and your work.
Correct. But you do agree a lot of people do that. They do.
I can understand why they do it.
They do it.
I can understand why they do it.
Interesting. Okay. So I think moving on from mentorship, I also want to understand that when we talk about success, failure, and we talk about career-related success and failure, right? I've seen this, that a lot of times success is measured in terms of monetary success first than anything else. Impact is defined and success is defined very differently for people. But I want to understand what, according to you, is true career and professional development related success. How do you say that a person has actually, at least in the professional front, done well for themselves?
And I think it's very subjective.
Okay.
What done well for themselves
for
means.
You?
For me, what is doing well may not be what's well for you, right? So
sure.
I'll take the first part of your question.
Yeah.
For me, success is not money.
Okay.
I think if you go in for money, instead of going in for a goal or going in for impact, पैसा भी नहीं मिलेगा और goal भी नहीं आ जाएगा, right? Because going in for money as the only sole objective will get you to take wrong decisions. Honestly. तो मैं example देता हूँ आपको. लोग बोलते हैं यार आपने business बेच दिया, आपने exit किया ये वो whatever. What do you do when you started the business to plan for the exit? I said I didn't do anything. अगर मैंने business start किया और मेरे मन में day one से ये idea था कि मुझे business बेचना है, तो I've taken all the wrong decisions.
True.
The actual best way to exit a business is never think of an exit at all. अच्छा business बनाओ, अच्छा काम करो, अच्छे metrics लाओ, and then people will be interested. But if you say day one से मुझे बेचना है, nobody will come to buy it.
True.
You will take the wrong mindset, you will build the wrong kind of business, nobody will buy it, right? So if you think about work as well, right? Look, I'm not saying I'm living in some fool's paradise utopian world where money is not important.
Yeah.
I believe it is important, it's an enabler, etc. all of that. But it should not be the only objective. And if it is the only objective, you may not get enough of it. And if it's not the objective and you do good quality work, it will follow. And that's, I think, something that I have seen over the last 10 years in my career in the professional world as well. And I think ये success का definition, जो मेरे लिए success है, he seems like people come to me and they're like, you're killing it, man, you're killing it. I just say, how? What do you think? I mean, maybe I am.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not. But what made you think of that? Right? I'm very interested to know what people think.
Yeah.
So I think that look, for me, if I'm to define success in one sentence, it would be setting goals and then working towards achieving them or achieving those goals. That's success for me, and that may not be money. It may be a family goal. It may be a goal with your child. It may be a goal with reaching a particular stage of life. It may be a goal of reaching a particular position. It may be a goal of taking your company to a particular level. It may not only be money. Money may be a byproduct. But for me, success is whatever my goal. Look, success in the world of cricket is to be player of the tournament in the World Cup.
Yeah.
For Virat Kohli. Success in the world of cricket for me is bowling 5 overs without bowling a wide. So goals are very different. Perspective is very different. Scale and stage is very different. What is success for a billionaire is very different from success for me, even from a monetary standpoint. And so setting goals and putting perspective into what you want to achieve. Like, मेरे डैड बहुत गोल्फ खेलते हैं, तो हमेशा मुझे बोलते थे कि आप डाबर का पीएनएल देख के आप सोचेंगे कि मैं डॉक्टर है इसमें क्या कर रहा हूँ तो क्या होगा? कुछ नहीं होगा. That business is 1,000 times your size. So it's not relevant to look at that. Right? It's relevant to look at मैं कल क्या कर रहा था, मैं आज क्या कर रहा हूँ और मैं परसों क्या करने वाला हूँ. And keep getting better on that.
Makes a lot of sense. No, I think, like you said, for you, money is important, and obviously you said that it is an enabler and there are a lot of things attached to it. But like you said, your goal and your perspective of how you look at it right now and hence how you approach it will be very different from a billionaire versus a sportsman. And yeah, makes a lot of sense to me as well. But Arjun, see, when we talk about, since we're talking about money, we've spoken a lot about investing. You are investing not essentially your money, but your venture capital's money in so many different businesses, business ideas, founders that you put trust in. What are the other avenues in which you invest? Not just your money, but your money and time and in general. So where are you investing right now apart from startups?
Yeah, देखो, पहले तो जो मैं VC fund से invest करता हूँ, my structure of the VC fund is every company in the fund invests and I invest my personal money as well.
Okay, you do.
So I have complete incentivization and complete skin in the game in everything I do.
Nice.
But honestly, VC bolo, angel investment bolo, startup investment bolo, is the most risky asset class, right? So we have a family office structure in our family where we invest across asset classes.
Okay.
From the most safe asset class like fixed deposit and government bonds to other debt instruments. Used to be MLDs, now we're not doing so many MLDs, we're doing other sort of debt funds, to the most risky debt instrument, which is venture debt. Even in equity, we are doing plain vanilla mutual funds, we are doing PMS strategies, we are doing investments in AIFs across VC and private equity, and then we are doing startup investments as well, or angel investments. So we have a family office that invests. In our family offices, we've taken a 50-50 debt equity ratio because my dad is also part of it, and he has less risk capital than my brother and I, etc. All of that.
Yeah.
Then across each of these asset classes of debt and equity, investing across instruments so that your portfolio is diversified, and if there is some issue in one asset class, then you have access to the other asset classes. So we actually invest. मैं my professional life is spent in the world of startups. और मैं यहाँ बहुत time, effort और energy spend करता हूँ, but as a family invest in the way most other family offices would invest.
Got it. Today's episode is brought to you by Dhan, a game changer in the world of investing. Whether you are a seasoned trader or a long-term investor, Dhan has got you covered. Lightning fast, tech-driven, loaded with industry-first features, Dhan is built for super traders and those in it for the long term. जो markets के लिए बने हैं, उन्हीं के जैसे Dhan भी है made for trade. Download the app using the referral link in the description below. Talking about money, knowing obviously where and how you are kind of diversifying in terms of where the money goes in terms of asset classes, I want to understand somebody aspiring to get into the VC world, angel investing world. Can you shed some light on the kind of numbers that they could make early on to where they could get to a certain level or a trajectory? I don't know if there's a hierarchy. It's not a typical
well,
corporate
actually,
role.
देखो, angel investing छोड़ो, because angel investing is honestly a side thing for most people.
For most
right?
people, ठीक है.
And honestly, I'll be very honest, angel investing is for people who have that extra money. If you want to angel invest, you have to have at least 50 lakhs to 1 CR of capital to be able to invest, to build a portfolio.
ठीक है.
You don't have that, like, अभी ये जो मैं देख रहा हूँ कि 5,000 रुपए 10,000 रुपए angel investment में डालो, it's actually, I think, very wrong.
Yeah.
It's a very risky asset class. It should not be invested in this manner, right?
True.
So let's leave angel investing aside, because that is for people who have already got to that level, right?
Got it.
VC में actually, to be honest, there is hierarchy in some sense.
Okay.
You start as an analyst, you become an associate, फिर आप
So there are those levels,
principal,
typical.
VP बन जाके फिर eventually MD और फिर partner बनते हो.
Okay.
So I would say the starting salary as an analyst would be like maybe starting at like 9 to 12 lakhs per annum, and then if you become an associate, it goes up to like, starts at 15, goes up to 24. If you work at a global fund, maybe 25, 30 lakhs per annum, and then as you go up, you can go up to 50, 60 lakhs to a crore as a principal and VP, and then eventually you go to MD partner, and then the numbers are all blurred.
Correct.
To be honest, from there.
Interesting.
So it is a profession, honestly, which pays well.
Clearly.
It doesn't pay as well as private equity, where the because the funds you're managing are larger. So it's larger.
Yeah.
It's different work, but it's also very tough to get into. So even though it pays well, I think you got to put the effort to get into the industry.
Yeah, but I think it's a very lucrative career option. If you're good at it and you have the understanding and the knack for it, then why not?
Absolutely.
That's great.
Buy side is the top of the financial pyramid, right?
Yeah.
So top of the, so if you are able to get there, it is impressive, and so you should be rewarded for that.
True. No, well said. With that, I'm going to come to asking you something interesting. I mean, a lot of people have observed that you wear the India band on your hand. मैंने भी देखा, obviously, and we know your love for India. And obviously, everybody, being an Indian, you have to kind of have that sense of patriotism. बुला लो, कुछ भी बोलो. But I want to understand one thing, Arjun. Everybody now, suddenly there is this, I don't know. I'm not saying that people didn't love their country as much as they are loving it now. I don't know how else to frame it and put it. But I feel in the past 1 year, suddenly लोगों को, what last 2-3 years, India is something that they've recognized to see a potential in out of nowhere, right? Now everybody wants to be in Bharat, not go outside. People are coming back. Why do you think that the next decade is India's decade? Like most people are saying it, since you're at the center of the ecosystem, you see a lot of things. What do you think is making things work for India?
90s में ना, when I was growing up, we were apologetically Indian. जब हम बाहर जाते थे ना, लोग पूछते कहाँ से हो, हम like very softly हम बोलते हम इंडिया से हैं, ये वो whatever, and even in the world our standing was one of those like, yeah, nice people, they'll stay on their own, they'll not bother and harm people, and जो काम करके निकल जाएंगे, right?
Yeah.
I think the country of billion plus people now, 1.4 billion people, I think in the last 10 years we have stamped some of our authority and reached the place we should be. I think जब देश आगे बढ़ता है ना, और जब देश में कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाती है, इकोनॉमी आगे बढ़ती है, prosperity and wealth is created, then people get confidence.
Right.
And today, nationalism, pride of India is a byproduct of the country also doing well, right? I think in the last 10 years, we have seen a huge amount of pride to being Indian.
Yeah.
A huge amount of pride to buying Indian products and buying Indian brands. When I was growing up, स्टोर्स में जाते थे जहाँ इम्पोर्टेड प्रोडक्ट्स अवेलेबल थे, ओनली इम्पोर्टेड प्रोडक्ट्स, बिकॉज वो समय में जो इम्पोर्टेड था वो वॉज कंसिडर्ड गुड एंड जो इंडियन था वो सब स्टैंडर्ड था, राइट? वो दैट्स कम्प्लीटली चेंज्ड एंड इट्स कम्प्लीटली चेंज. मैं ऊबर नहीं यूज़ करता हूँ, मैं ओला यूज़ करता हूँ. वाई? बिकॉज इंडियन कंपनी, मुझे इंडियन कंपनी को सपोर्ट करना है. तो आई थिंक दिस फीलिंग, देखो, आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन पेट्रियोटिक. आई वॉज wearing this band even in 2009, 10, 11 when I was in college, right? Someone gave me this band and I'm very patriotic, so I wore it. But now people ask me, क्या है?
हाँ, people are interested, ना?
कहाँ मिलता है? Even I want to wear, etc. All of that. We sold a record number of jerseys for the World Cup, India cricket jersey. And part of it has to do with Adidas reducing the price of the jersey also. They were selling 900 and 1200 rupee jerseys, but everyone wanted to be in that blue jersey. Everybody wanted that blue jersey. Everybody wanted that India color, and that says a lot about the way the country is progressing. And I'm so happy to see that people are proudly Indian as opposed to being apologetically Indian. And if you, अभी तो शायद नहीं है, but जब मैं डॉक्टर वैद्य चलाता था तो on the front and center of every product it said proudly Indian on it. And that was a very important part of me in the product as well.
No, I remember that when we had this conversation during the Facebook Live also, you did tell me that. I remember seeing a picture also. Again, I think it was with that wooden box jo aapne abhi bataya, with the products which you would always take. Trisha was also there in that picture. Proudly Indian was always there on each product at the back side, flip side. No, I think, like you said, like there is that sense suddenly, because like you said, when the nation also progresses, automatically wo ek instilled confidence comes in to you as a citizen.
You see around you people are doing well, you
so
see you are progressing, you are moving forward, and so it's but natural to see this.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm going to pivot to, understanding one thing which is very interesting, because you're an entrepreneur, you're a venture capitalist, and you also create content. What I want to understand, Arjun, is why is it necessary today for an entrepreneur to create content or for a creator to turn into an entrepreneur? Because I'll tell you, one thing I've seen a lot is, हम बहुत सारे creators को entrepreneurs turn करते हुए देख रहे हैं. We're seeing a lot of entrepreneurs also moving towards content creation, and then there's this symbiotic relationship, center of the Venn diagram, wherein we have like a very fine picture of people who are contentpreneurs or whatever you want to call it now. What's your take on it? Do you think this is just a phase, it will fizzle out, and बाद में it will not be important? How important do you think social media and content creation is?
Look, it's not for everyone. If you can do it, great. Especially हमारे D2C के ecosystem में देखो तो actually like पहले 1, 2, 3 साल में आपके पास brand ambassador afford करना नहीं, पैसा नहीं है. Right? You can't get a celebrity brand ambassador on day one. And so वो समय में actually founder ही brand ambassador बन जाता है.
Correct.
Founder should wear the brand on their sleeve. Founder should emanate with the brand. And जब founders brand के बारे में बात करते हैं तो ऐसे customers के साथ connect आ जाती है. I know the guy behind the product. Now think about it. जब हम 90s में, early 2000s में जो brands आप consume करते थे, did you even have an idea who the person is behind the brand? Do you know what did you know what the CEO of HUL looked like 20 years ago? Did you know what the owner of Himalaya looks like? Did you know? You didn't know all of these things, right? And आज आप मैं आपको पूछूं तो do you know what the founder of Boat looks like, what the founder of Lenskart looks like, what the founder of Licious looks like, what the founder of Mama looks like? You know all of that. You have that connect. You remember that person. You buy that product. You remember that person. What they are talking about. Why had an impact on their life. हमारे प्रोडक्ट के आज में मैं आ जाता था.
Correct.
जब हम asthma के बारे में बात करते हैं, I was cured of asthma using my grandfather's formulation. So I would come on the ad. They're very effective ads because people would relate to the ads, right? So I think if you can do it, at least in a consumer brand space, it is very important. I'm not a creator, so I don't know why creators want to become entrepreneurs. But I know why it makes sense for entrepreneurs or people like me who are VCs to create content or to be accessible and share your view in public. Because for me as a VC now, if I am active on LinkedIn and people read what I'm talking about, and then I want to reach out to you, Dhairya, starting a new company, I've never spoken to you before, and I reach out to you with a cold DM, if you know who I am, you'll reply, right?
100%.
And if I can get 7 out of 10 of those replies, that puts me better than most other people. Right? And so I think that is really important from a VC lens. From an entrepreneur lens, I told you, right? It helps the consumer connect the brand. So everyone has to have their own reason and sort of want or requirement or desire as to why they're doing these things, and that's why I do it. But honestly, I think जो सीखा है, if you can share and impart that knowledge with people and they gain something from it, then that's all, right? So, मैं actually इतने scientifically नहीं देखता हूँ ये content. Maybe I should, but I today I don't. I just see what I.
But you think it helps? From a larger perspective and lens, it helps.
For me as a VC, it really helps because now when I reach out to founders, they kind of know who I am already. They've seen something I've said, they've heard about something I've said, and so it just breaks the ice. And establishes a connect, which is really nice.
Nice. Yeah, and if it gets you past through certain doors earlier, then why not? Perfect. With that, Arjun, when we talk about family, we talk about, how important they are and integral they are. I want to understand that how has your family impacted a lot of your career choices and decisions you have made or helped you in your personal development overall? I'm sure there are a lot of generational values that have been passed over the years and you kind of have, stuck around to them. But I want to understand that what impact has your family had on your career choices?
I think firstly, when I was graduating from college, मुझे वापस एशिया में काम करना था. तो I worked at this private equity fund which I told you about. उनका हेड ऑफिस सिंगापुर में था और हांगकांग में भी एक ऑफिस था. जब मुझे जॉब मिला था तो दे सेड आप सिंगापुर आ सकते हो, आप हांगकांग जा सकते हो, या बॉम्बे जा सकते हो. हमारे 3 ऑफिसेस है एशिया में, कहीं भी जा सकते हो. तो ऐसे मैं सिंगापुर जाता हूँ, हेड ऑफिस में काम करता हूँ. माय फैमिली होता है एशिया आ रही हो तो इंडिया ही आ जाओ. एंड दे पुट देयर फुट डाउन फॉर मी टू कम टू इंडिया. बस बेस्ट डिसीजन आई टुक ऑफ माय लाइफ. से हाँ ठीक है, आई विल कम एंड लिव इन बॉम्बे, आई लिव एट होम बिकॉज I came back to India before most of my friends came back to India. And I knew I wanted to be in India. So I might as well spend the maximum amount of time in India to understand the economy and the way things work, right? So I think my mom forcing me to come back to India was, in hindsight, a great decision. I think I learned a lot of... हमारी family में value system बहुत strong है. So the 7 philosophies of my company. Hard work is our strength. I'm a hard worker. Humility or humbleness is our equity. I think it's very important to me to not have an ego and not stand on a pedestal. Happy to work and happy to achieve. I enjoy what I do. If I don't enjoy what I do, I won't do it. 100% and nothing less. Honesty is our practice, right? Like, say something that hurts someone, but be honest about it. Team effort is our power and customer is our reason for being. These are 7 things that my dad and granddad instilled in me that eventually became the philosophies of my company that I live by. Whatever I do in life.
No, very impactful, very deep. And I think I have obviously heard of the 7 values before, but I want to understand, Arjun, do you think there were times where you felt that maybe there were certain things that you could have done if they weren't certain, family values that you had to abide by, or you would have made decisions differently if you didn't think a certain way or put that as a priority? Would anything change?
100% maybe I would have done things differently, but I'm happy with the way I did things because honestly, I think that I think at the end of the day, you can do a lot of things without ethics, right? And ethics is a big part of what my dad has taught me in relation to business. But money comes and goes, but reputation stays forever, right? And so maybe I could have done certain things differently, but I did keeping long term in mind.
Interesting. Great. I want to kind of ask you something on the lines of, you said you have to stick to ethics. And obviously you could get money, fame or whatever, wherever you want to get to in your career in any way possible. Today, I think, aaj ki generation, we are very finicky. I mean, everybody wants everything quick. You get onto Instagram, people want 100K followers in a day or whatever, and people get 100K followers in a day when they go viral. People want to make a crore in a day, and fine, it's great to be ambitious. What I want to understand, Arjun, is that when you are in such a competitive environment and you see people around you, there's FOMO, there's social media, there are so many things going on. How do you, it's conflicting for people to choose between ambition and contentment. So जब आप ambition versus contentment की बात करते हो, what's your take on it?
Look, I'm not going to lie, I also feel FOMO. In a lot of times I feel FOMO, I see what's happening around me, I'm like, even I can be this, even I can do this. But honestly, life में ना मुझे आसानी से कुछ भी नहीं मिला है. कुछ भी नहीं मिला है आसानी से. Whether it was in school, studying, playing sports, getting good grades, getting into a good college, getting a good job, कुछ भी आसानी से नहीं मिला है. Company में भी जब company बनी तो आसानी से नहीं मिली. तो I am actually okay if it doesn't come fast because I know it's not going to come fast for me in anything. This stage in life, nothing's going to come easily to me. तो मुझे एफर्ट लगाना होता है, तो मैं एफर्ट लगा लेता हूँ. ठीक है, it may take someone 1 month, it'll take me 6 months, but eventually हो जाएगा. But one thing I can tell you is, because of the way things have happened in my life, जो कुछ भी आसानी से नहीं आती है, I am clear that I will be more consistent than anybody else in the room. If I play football today with my friends who used to play football in school and were much better than me, today I can outrun anybody on the football field. I don't have the talent. I can't play the ball well. I won't score goals, but I will outrun anybody on the field. So 45 minutes, 1 घंटे के बाद जब सब लोग थके, I'm still running, I'm still going. And that corollary of football is my life.
Got it.
I will be more consistent. I will show up every day regardless of what happens. And that is my moat.
That's your moat. Consistency is your moat.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So I think in that conflict that you have between ambition and contentment, probably consistency is going to be.
But that ambition contentment mode, na, you have to take a call at some point.
You have to?
Where am I going to stop? Where am I going to stop? I can work 24 hours a day. I can.
Yeah, you can.
I can spend 0 time with my kid. But at some point I have to take that call. No, I will stop here.
Yeah.
And everybody takes that call, and the level of ambition is different for people. The level of contentment is different for people. What keeps me content will not keep you content, and vice versa. So you have to take that call yourself.
Okay, so I think, Arjun, it's been a very, very interesting, delightful and an eye-opening conversation for me, because I think I've been introduced to a very new, unconventional career path myself, being a career coach. So मुझे तो बहुत मजा आया है. But with that, we are not going to let you go before we play a very quick rapid fire round with you.
Sure, I'm excited.
Yeah? Perfect. Let's start. So Arjun, what is the one biggest financial mistake that you have made in your life?
Not made it yet.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't think I've made a big.
Yeah,
I've not made a big.
You got me like on the in the
I've
first
not made
question.
a big financial mistake yet. I'm very conservative though with my finances, and I don't like to spend money.
Are you serious?
I don't like to spend money. I was like, I still only exclusively fly economy class. Exclusively.
Okay.
It will never change.
And you won't change it.
No, I remember selling my company and my dad was saying, यार अभी गाड़ी थोड़ा upgrade कर लो. तो I said ठीक है. I bought only one car in my life. Creta. That too. I told my dad my budget is 9 lakhs from my savings. He said 9 लाख में कोई अच्छी गाड़ी नहीं मिल जाएगी. I was like 9 लाख मेरा budget है. He said Creta मुझे अच्छा लगा. I said ठीक है मैं 9 लाख दे दूंगा जो भी उसके ऊपर है आप दे दो. So I bought that one car. He had paid for whatever was above 9 lakhs. And then he said कंपनी में जी गाड़ी अपग्रेड करो 5 साल हो गए गाड़ी में. तो I said ठीक है जाते हैं. He said okay I'll take you to some. And my dad's very passionate about cars. He doesn't buy cars for the name. He buys cars because he likes cars.
Got it.
I don't care about cars. For me, cars point A to point B. So he took me to all these expensive car showrooms, and then I realized actually cars are so expensive. And I said, no, I don't ascribe so much value to a car. So I said, I'm happy. I'll buy something slightly better than the Creta and move on in life. And so I bought an EV, and I'm happy with my car.
Interesting. So Arjun has not made any financial mistake.
I made financial mistakes, but not something crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
I will
Okay,
regret.
not significant. Okay.
Not enough.
Got it. If you could go back in time and change any one professional decision you regret making, which one would it be, if any?
I would go back to college and take a class in computer science.
Why?
I think that like
because of tech and everything?
I didn't take the class for the wrong reason. It was too hard and so it would take too much time in the labs and all. And I think I built a career in e-commerce. Had I known more about computers, I would have done better.
Perfect. Okay. इतना पैसा कमा लेने के बाद you feel like ठीक है अब बहुत कमा लिया and अब आराम कर लेते हैं. When does that point come?
आराम तो नहीं होगा मेरे से. पैसे से आराम नहीं होगा मेरे.
नहीं होगा. नहीं. There's no point.
नहीं, it's not correlated for me.
So for you, आराम is not related to any amount of money anyways.
Correct.
ठीक है. If you could have a business-related dinner with any 3 people, living or dead, who would they be and why?
Steve Jobs, I think one of the best branding experts I have ever seen and a beautiful product builder. So definitely Steve Jobs. I'm a crazy Sachin fan. I just think that dealing with pressure and being consistent in a team that was not so good. I think it would be number 2 would be Sachin. And I think number 3 maybe Jeff Bezos.
Okay.
I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur. I think Amazon
so
is just the most beautiful e-commerce experience ever.
Perfect. What's the most unusual or the most unexpected work or investment pitch you've ever received? जिसे सुन के आपको भी ऐसी thought आई कि यार इतना creative तो मैं भी नहीं हो सकता. Like blew your mind. Could be a pitch, interaction.
Okay. So I got an email once.
Yeah.
Where someone wanted to invite me to a podcast.
Okay.
And they had used AI
What?
to create this podcast set with that person sitting on one chair and me sitting on the other chair, and said, I've already imagined this podcast that we are doing together.
God.
And honestly, it wasn't a great podcast, but I just did it saying, boss, this email blew my mind. I'm doing your podcast. Yeah.
So it got you to the podcast. Now the job's done.
Yeah.
Done.
It
Perfect.
was a virtual podcast. So actually, there was no set and all, but yeah.
But great efforts, yeah. Very unique. Okay. If you could have one superpower specifically for navigating your professional or personal life, what would it be and why, and how would you use it?
Yeah, I think
Could be for
personal and professional life both.
Huh.
Getting into my wife's brain and preempting what she is thinking. So I have the right answers to the questions.
Oh God.
That'll help me professionally and personally, by the way, because
How
she's
would
my
it help you
biggest
professionally?
because she's my biggest advisor.
Yeah.
Any big professional decision has to come through her. So if I can preempt how she's thinking, it'll just make my life easier. In everything in life.
Interesting. Perfect. And the last question for the rapid fire. If you had to choose a spirit animal that represents you, both in personal and professional terms, who would it be and why?
Tiger, I'm very patriotic. National animal.
I
of
thought
India.
so. I thought so that was coming. I thought so.
But my vibes are not like tiger, but
No, but I understand. Perfect. No, I think...
my daughter also loves tiger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So tiger. Tiger would be your spirit animal. Okay. Perfect. No, I feel that... thank you so much, Arjun, firstly, for coming over, for taking out time for this. And I think I couldn't have, kick-started the podcast in any other way than this and having you over. It was a pleasure getting to know more about your professional career, what you're doing currently, and everything else that has happened. I'm sure that the audience will have a lot of key takeaways to go back to. We're going to be linking Arjun's socials as well in the description. Do check out the content he creates. It's superb and it's amazing if you're an aspiring D2C founder, want to know more about, investing as well in general. And I hope you had a great time, Arjun.
It's been a pleasure. It's an honor to be on this podcast, and I'm so excited to see the rest of the episodes as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.